Greetings, and today I have another deck video for you guys. So this is a deck that I've seen quite a bit on Ranked. It is the Enslaved Tactics deck. This deck I think is pretty powerful in my opinion. Like a lot of the decks I've played against this, I've had a hard time beating a deck like this, and it is pretty tough. So I've seen, there's obviously multiple versions of this deck. This is just sort of the deck list that I chose to go with. In all honesty, Nilfgaard, like, as you guys would know, if you guys know, like, seen my gameplay, Nilfgaard is one of the weakest factions that I played with, so the fact that you're seeing maybe an abundance of Nilfgaard decks in these, in the channel, probably explains just me wanting to get better at Nilfgaard. So, before I start the deck list, I just want to let you guys know that I am going to start streaming on Twitch again. Believe it or not, I actually did start on Twitch before coming to YouTube. It's just that I wanted to try YouTubing out for a bit first before seeing how I could, you know, manage my time and see if I can potentially go back to Twitch. And I'm gonna start doing that. So from Friday to Sunday, I will be streaming. So today will be the guide video. The Tuesday and Thursday video uploads will still remain the same. And Sunday, I'll also do Sunday uploads. I'll still add another day. I'm trying to think about which one that is. It definitely can't be Friday. Just because, you know, Friday's gonna be Twitch day. So I'll still think about that for the time being, but I'll leave a link in the description below for my Twitch links if you guys want to go follow me, so you can go see me on stream tomorrow and come hang out, teach me how to play this game, because in all honesty, I suck. So, the Enslaved Tactics. Obviously we're using the Enslaved, and I believe I counted enough tactic cards to, you can seize a unit with 7 power or less. So, we'll start, of course, with Damien de la Tour. Letting you steal a unit of 7 twice is gonna be pretty powerful. If anything, this sort of plays a psychological mind against your opponent, because being able to steal a card with 7 power, you can take almost any of their engine cards. I went up against, I think, 3 enslaved decks with my Skellige deck. My damage Skellige with damage and second chances, where I won 1 and lost 2. It was tough. It was honestly tough playing a deck like this, because you never know which of their units you can take. That's why I think a good way to counter this deck is to make sure that you have engines ready no matter what, because they can only steal so many amount of times. But the thing is, that could also cause a pretty strong power swing. Like, the maximum power swing you're getting from a slave is 14 with a deck like this. With Damien de la Tour, you can do it all over again, and it's gonna be tough. Of course, the downside is Damien de la Tour himself is not so easy. It's not so hard to destroy, with it only being a 5 power. Which is probably why you have Phyphon, again, Defender, making it super powerful for you to let you activate your pretty powerful effects. So we got Damien de la Tour, we got Royal Decree, of course, because it is a tactic. I don't know if it's always been a tactic. I don't think it's always been a tactic. I think they just added this in the new hot patch, just can't remember. But yeah, Royal Decree is going to be there, and of course, any deck with Royal Decree is a good deck to me, just because I love Royal Decree. Next, we got Stefan Skelen. Spawn and play a copy of the last tactic card. You already played this round. So this is a timed card, of course. You want to be able to play him almost immediately after you play, well, not necessarily. You can play him, and then play a tactic right after, and then activate Stefan Skelen to play it again. So you can play 2 Briberies, 2 Royal Decrees, 2 Treasons, 2 Decoys. You know, you guys get the idea. Next is Phyphon, of course, the Defender of Nilfgaard. He will, of course, be defending all of your engines and all of your cards that let you support and use more of your tactic cards, which will be great. And from what I've noticed, defenders are not so easy to destroy, simply because of the lack of damage output decks that are out there. So I'll probably expecting to see some Purify cards coming out, like in decks where they're not really supposed to be, because they're not usually part of the meta of the deck. But because of the strength of defenders, you're definitely gonna see some Purify. You got Bribery, of course. This is a good way to sort of see what kind of a deck your opponent is running, unless of course they show 3 cards like freaking Knickers, Geralt Axii. You know, that probably won't tell you as much, but if you see a couple of core engines, that might be a good idea. You can sort of formulate what kind of deck they're running, so that might even be helpful to you in terms of being able to predict maybe what kind of cards they would have, and of course to expect the worst, because you really never know what they're gonna have in their hand. So Bribery is there, and of course it's a tactic card, so it does further buff Enslaved's hero ability. Next we got Swears, being able to seize an enemy unit with 3 or less power. I always find Swears good if your opponent wants to run a low power engine card. Swears just takes them and you get to use it for yourself. He is not he's not locked, unlike Vigo's Muzzle, so Swears is gonna be pretty good. You'll see a lot of Swears in most Nilfgaard decks nowadays, just because of his ability to disrupt engines, which is nice. You got Menno Cohorn, lets you take away a free tactic that's stuck in your deck that needs to come out and play it. Of course, you can combo him with Stefan Skalen, so you play Stefan first, and then Menno Cohorn is essentially a tactic card that's in your deck. It's good for +2, of course, +2. So it's literally Royal Decree +2, Bribery +2, if they're in your deck, of course. Not to mention that Menno Cohorn does help you deck thin a little bit there, so that's pretty nice. Next, you got Artorias Vigo. Artorias Vigo is, let's see, how many units we have? 1, 2, 3. We have 3 units. So Artorias Vigo is going to be good for that triple Imperial Brigade ability. You could go with Venedal Elite. Of course, it really depends on what kind of cards you're running in your hand. I mean, you could run another Alba Armored Cavalry, letting you lock an opponent if you so choose. Next, you got Decoy, being able to shuffle an allied unit to from your battlefield to your deck and then playing the top unit. I kind of want to make a switch with this card, and here's why. This card is, I wouldn't want to say it's random, but it's like, it's definitely not a card that you want to play first turn. I know why it's here. It's here because it's a tactic card, and it's probably one of the few 7 provision tactic cards. Of course, there's Treason right there, but it's already in the deck. But yeah, so Decoy is good because it's a tactic card. It's good for taking, you know, boosting that power up to 7. But I think the randomness does play into effect here because you don't know what the top card is going to be. It could be a card that ends up being obsolete, and you've just essentially played Decoy for nothing. So I would see myself playing Decoy maybe in the 3rd round if I find that I've thinned my deck decently enough, in which that any card that I draw from the deck honestly will be a good one. So Decoy's gotta be one of those cards I gotta watch out for. I can't just play this thing like, you know, out of the blue. Next, of course, is Treason. It's pretty straightforward, pretty strong damaging card. Especially if your opponent decides to play Engine Boost Northern Realms. Treason's gonna be a good one. If you have like a 30 power Trident Infantry and like 220 powers on the side, eliminates them both. Good for getting rid of cards when you lack the damage cards yourselves. Cantarella is good for top decking your opponent's card from the deck. Of course, if it ends up being a strong engine card or even a pretty powerful gold card, then you've kind of struck the jackpot there. But that's the thing, it's a gamble because this card is mainly focusing on Enslaved's ability being increased as opposed to being able to read your opponent's deck with using cards like Courier and... Oh, I forgot the name of that card. Where is he? He's here somewhere. I'm still trying to get familiar with names, so bear with me here. Did I miss him? No, I didn't miss him. He is an 8. No, he's not a 7, 8. Dodric. His name is Dodric. I just remembered. Dodric. So if you don't have Courier or Dodric, it's going to be hard for Cantarella. Actually, Dodric's more for your deck, so I think it's mostly for Courier, the Cantarella would be for. And never mind. Ignore Dodric. I think it's mostly for Courier. But yeah, Cantarella's still good. It does deck thin your opponent a little bit, but if you manage to snag one of their strong core cards, it's a dub. Plus, it's just 1 power, so... Next is Roderick of Duntine. Of course, he's going to be in a lot of Nilfgaard decks just because of he's very strong. He's essentially a stronger version of The Last Wish in my opinion because A, cheaper for visions, and B, you're looking at 2 gold cards instead of 2 random cards, and the other one doesn't get banished when you play one of them. So, of course, Roderick is going to be here. Again, deck thin. Experimental Remedy, being able to play a bronze unit from your opponent's graveyard. This is where you get to use your opponent's weapon against them. And if it's a good way to support your own units, the more better to play it for whatever reason. So, good to have Experimental Remedy there. Plus, it is tactic, so that's bonus points going towards Enslave. Next, you got the Imperial Brigade, which is most likely going to be the Artorias target. Imperial Diplomacy, again, this is the fun part with Nilfgaard, is you can use more than 1 engine. You can use your own engines for tactics, and you can use their own engines for whatever deck they're having. So, but you just gotta make sure that you draw them out pretty early. So I probably say play a decent round 1, like maybe mid-range, just to see what kind of cards they have. So you can kind of do a bit of scouting. And yeah, Assassination, there for that removal. 6 powers, always pretty good. With the lack of damage output nowadays, as card like Assassin's gonna have some pretty strong value. Next, we got Amba Armored Cavalry. Lets you locking those pretty strong engines that could otherwise provide, you know, pretty strong damage against you. Sorry, my phone's going off. It's pretty crazy. But yeah. Next, we got Venedal Elite. Being able to boost by 1 for each tactic in your hand. Of course, you gotta have, to have the maximum value of this card, you gotta have all tactics in your hand, which you obviously don't want. But because it is a 5 for 4, if you have at least 2 tactics, Venedal's already a plus. And 6 power turn 1 is always going to be pretty strong anyway. So it's good to not be too greedy with Venedal Elite, but because of the amount of tactics you have, it's good to have him in the deck. So have 2 copies of that. And last but not least, we got Tourney Joust. I mostly use Tourney Joust to boost myself and give the shield. And because of the amount of armor decks that are now being played because of obviously the expansion release, Tourney Joust has become kind of obsolete in that sense because not a lot of cards are really using shield anymore. Of course, you still have the occasional Hefty Helga tactics deck that's gonna want to come out, and Tourney Joust just completely counters Hefty Helga. But other than that, it's not really gonna prove so much uses anymore because most of the strong engines are now supported by armor cards. So Tourney Joust doesn't destroy them as easily as they used to. So yeah, but it's still here because it is a tactic card, and always being able to put a shield on yourself is always still pretty good. So there's that. And then you can also use it to defend your engines such as Stefan Skelen. Sorry, not Stefan Skelen, Damien de la Tour if you're not ready to play him yet. Or Arturius Vigo if you don't want him to leave as well. So, you know, there are other options as well to play Tourney Joust. That's why I like having these cards that sort of have more than one option. So you can sort of base your gameplay around that. So that's the deck list guide for the Tactical Seas deck. I will be streaming tomorrow from 8 to 10 p.m. So I won't be streaming for that long, just simply because I'll be coming from work and I got other stuff I gotta do. So it won't be a long stream, but I will be showcasing some gameplay of this deck, and most likely I'll be getting out some highlight plays from the stream if there are any, and post them on Sunday's regular video upload. So leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video, comment on any changes you guys would like to make, and subscribe for more Gwent content. Other than that, Enzo signing out. Catch you guys in the next one.